There's a bar in Atlantic City that's been open since 1927, serves pizza until 3 in the morning, has a 24/7 liquor license other places would commit crimes to get their hands on, and made the first tomato pie ever served in that entire city. It's called Tony's Baltimore Grill. It's in the Pizza Hall of Fame, and the sign out front got misread so many times that the staff eventually gave up and put an actual spaghetti pizza on the menu out of pure spite. We'll get back to that beautiful lunatic at the end. For now, I just need you to understand the fact that this place and plenty of others exist in Jersey where the good pizza has always been, no matter how many times your cousin from Queens tries to lecture you about it. So let's talk about that. Because the single most exhausting thing a New Yorker does, and they do a lot of exhausting things, is the pizza speech. They fold a $7 slice in half, take one bite, close their eyes like they're receiving communion, and inform you that you simply cannot get this anywhere else. It's the water. It's the minerals in the water. An entire city's identity propped up on a municipal myth about tap water. Meanwhile, they're standing in a place called Original Ray's Famous, which is one of 400 Rays, none of them original. I'm not here to tell you New York pizza is bad. I'm here to tell you something much harder for them to swallow, which is that New Jersey is better at it, has been better at it for a very long time, and the proof is right here in this video. Let's start where the argument basically ends already. Razza in Jersey City. In 2017, the New York Times, the paper of the city that genuinely believes it personally invented dough, sent its critics across the river. And those critics came back and called Razza the best pizza in New York. In New York, the single best pizza they could find in all 5 boroughs was sitting in a different state. That is not me talking. That is the home team filing a dispatch from behind enemy lines and accidentally confessing under oath. Razza is also ranked number 12 in the entire country by 50 Top Pizza, which is about as close as the pizza world gets to a ranking people will actually fight you over. The guy mills his own grain, ferments his dough for days, treats his tomatoes like he's adopting them out of a shelter, and the result is a pie so good the paper of record had to drive to New Jersey to eat the best slice in its own city and then admit it in print. We could honestly stop right here, but stopping here would be merciful, and I am not in a merciful mood today. So let's talk about a legend, because Santillo's in Elizabeth is a legend. This is a Sicilian pie that is second to none, baked in an oven that families have been arguing about for generations, and it might genuinely be the best single slice in the entire Garden State. Then, in June of 2024, there was a fire. The famous oven, the literal heart of the whole operation, took the hit. And instead of cashing out, instead of calling it a hell of a run and walking off with the insurance check, they committed to rebuilding the exact thing the fire took, because certain pizza in this state gets treated with the kind of reverence other cultures reserve for cathedrals. Then the comeback hit another wall because owner Al ran into some health issues a couple months back that unfortunately pushed the reopening further out. There is no date set for the future from what I could find, but half of New Jersey is hoping it's as soon as possible. We're wishing him a speedy recovery. Down in Westmont in Camden County, there's a coal-fired spot called Bricco, and I need you to understand the level of genuine commitment involved here. Their oven runs at 1,000 degrees. To get it to 1,000 degrees, they have to start lighting it 2 full hours before they can cook a single pie. 2 hours of preheating an oven hot enough to reglaze pottery. Also, your pizza can spend about 90 seconds inside something that has the internal temperature of a small star. Food and Wine ranked Bricco the 16th best pizza in the world. Not the state, not the country, the world, the whole planet, Naples included. There's a place off Haddon Avenue quietly out cooking most of Italy. And the people who live 10 minutes away treat it like it's a regular Tuesday, because it is a regular Tuesday. Because this is New Jersey, and we are spoiled, absolutely rotten, and most of us don't even know it. Okay, history lesson, but the fun kind, the kind that ends an argument. People love to fight about where American pizza was truly born, and everyone points at the same three exhausted cities making the same exhausted case. What nobody at that table wants to deal with is that pizza showed up in Trenton in 1912, and when it showed up, it didn't show up calling itself pizza, it showed up as the tomato pie. That's a real distinct New Jersey style, where the cheese goes down first and the sauce gets ladled on top of everything like the recipe is personally daring you to question it. You go to DeLorenzo's, you go to Papa's, and you are eating a style of pie that Jersey invented and then politely declined to brag about for over 100 years. The Trenton tomato pie is the whole state saying, we were doing this before it was cool. And for once, being completely right. Star Tavern in Orange is the platonic ideal of the North Jersey thin crust bar pie. And if you didn't grow up with this, you genuinely missed a load-bearing beam of the culture. This is the cracker-thin, edge-to-edge, perfectly charred bar pie that exists in basically every North Jersey town under some slightly different family name, and Star Tavern is the one everybody quietly agrees is the gold standard. You sit in a dim room that has not updated its lighting since the 1970s. You order your pies by the number, and you eat a pizza so thin it has no earthly business being that good. This is not Instagram pizza. This is not for the aesthetic. This is the pizza that raised the people who go on to make Instagram pizza. Then there's Pizzeria Lucci in Belmar, which is the new kid that walked in, already knowing exactly what it was doing. This is new school New York style, done by people who clearly studied the form down to the molecule and then quietly perfected it down the shore. An airy, blistered crust that somehow stays crunchy at the same time. The exact structural engineering New York spent 100 years claiming as a sacred birthright, casually nailed by a spot in Belmar. It's one of the hottest pizzas in the state right now, and it earned that the honest way by being better than its own hype, which is a thing almost nothing on earth manages to be. Coniglio's in Morristown is what happens when a single human being decides that dough is going to be their entire personality and then turns out to be devastatingly correct about it. The dough here comes out of the kind of obsessive, monk-like expertise that you genuinely cannot fake and absolutely cannot rush. And the owner has the international trophies to back it up. Actual hardware won against actual competition from places that consider themselves the literal center of the pizza universe. Picture that for a second. A guy from Jersey flying overseas, competing against people whose grandparents were doing this in the old country and coming home with the trophy in his carry-on. The dough does not lie, and neither does a prize shelf. Dominick's in Totowa makes an old-school square pie with a rich, aggressively confident sauce and a dusting of pecorino that gets to you before you've even taken the first bite. And it has the kind of cult following that only ever attaches itself to places that flatly refuse to change. People don't like Dominick's. People defend Dominick's. And there is a meaningful difference between those two things. You bring up Dominick's at the wrong table in the wrong town, and you have started something you cannot finish. That right there is the real mark of great pizza. Not a clean 5-star average, but a small standing army of people prepared to go to war over a square. Talula's in Asbury Park is a modern entry, living proof that Jersey isn't just coasting forever on 100-year-old ovens and stubbornness. This place literally started on a backyard wood-burning oven, somebody's actual backyard in Asbury, and grew into one of the most inventive sourdough operations on the entire coast. These are pies for people who care about fermentation the way wine people care about which side of the hill the grapes grew on, and yet it somehow never tips over into insufferable because it's still Asbury Park, and Asbury Park comes with a built-in mechanism for keeping anybody from getting too precious about themselves. Talula's is what it looks like when the new generation respects the old religion instead of trying to disrupt it. Nunzio's in Long Branch has a classic bright neon sign, and it is still, in this economy, in this year, cash only, which is a personality trait disguised as a payment policy. You walk in, and it's like stepping straight into a postcard that hasn't aged a single day, and then they set down a margarita made with imported San Marzano tomatoes, the protected by law ones, the tomatoes that legally have papers, and you suddenly understand the checkered tablecloths weren't nostalgia. They were a warning that these people are deeply, unsmilingly serious. Cash only is the filter. If you make it past the emergency ATM run, you've already earned the pie. Patsy's Tavern in Paterson has been quietly considered one of the great pizzas in the entire state for longer than most pizzerias in this country have existed. A true bar pie institution in a city that does not get nearly enough credit for anything it's ever done. Paterson basically invented half the things this country runs on and got thanked for approximately none of it. And Patsy sits right in that exact tradition. Historic, beloved, doing it the same way for decades, and casually ignored by the same crowd that will happily wait 2 hours for a mediocre slice in Brooklyn. Their loss. Genuinely, sincerely, completely their loss. Tacconelli's, with locations in Mapleshade and Haddon Township, makes a red pie, a white pie, and a tomato pie. But then they pull off an interesting yet amazing move. They make a special corn pie using fresh Jersey corn from Eckert's farm. Read that sentence back slowly. New Jersey corn on a pizza. This is the Garden State taking the garden and putting it directly on the pie. And if that single fact doesn't make you finally understand what this state is actually about, then nothing I say for the rest of this video is going to land. New York can talk about its precious water all day long. We took the literal agriculture of our own state, grew it, picked it, and made a pizza out of it, and then had the nerve to call it a special. That's a thesis statement with cheese on it. And now, finally, back to the beautiful lunatic in Atlantic City. Tony's Baltimore Grill, open since 1927. The oldest pizza joint in AC, the place that served the very first tomato pie that city ever laid eyes on. The kitchen runs late, and the pies keep coming out until 3 in the morning. And the bar is open 24 hours, which means there is a fully functioning circa 1927 landmark in Atlantic City where you can get a cold drink at literally any hour that exists on the clock. It is in the Pizza Hall of Fame, which is a genuine institution and not a joke I made up. And the best part, the part that tells you everything about the actual soul of the place, is that sign. For decades, the old sign listed spaghetti and pizza, and people misread the two of them mashed together so many times, spaghetti pizza, that the staff eventually just surrendered to the bit and put a real spaghetti pizza on the real menu. They turned a typo into a tradition. They turned a customer's mistake into a permanent menu item and served it to the next 10,000 people. They doubled down on the error, plated it, and charged you for it. So here's where we actually stand. New York has great pizza. That's fine. Nobody's trying to take it from them. They can hold it close and keep telling their water story forever. But New Jersey has a 100-year-old origin style that we invented, a coal-fired pie ranked top 16 on the entire planet, the exact spot the New York Times itself crowned the best pizza in New York. A guy with a shelf of international trophies, a Sicilian legend that rose straight up out of a literal fire, the Platonic North Jersey bar pie, and a Hall of Fame landmark serving spaghetti pizza at 3 in the morning with the bar still open. That is the proof. Town by town, county by county, and you can drive to any single one of these in a single good afternoon while a New Yorker is still standing on a corner folding a slice in half and telling you a long, confident story about minerals. Jersey's been quietly better at this the entire time. We just never felt the need to make it our whole personality.